welcome back to the Essential Sports Podcast. My name is Tyler, and we have a special guest today. This is Darryl.
Hey, glad to be here, man. Coming in, it's going to be a crazy-ass playoffs, I'm not going to lie. But I'm glad to be here, do some predictions, and see what happens.
Yes, sir. So today we're going to be jumping into the NBA play-in tournament and then going down through the first round of the NBA playoffs. So let's jump right into it. It's going to be kind of a little bit of a shorter video today. Try to get this out hopefully after the first play-in game, edit it tonight, and get it out by tomorrow for the Raptors, Bulls, Pelicans, and Thunders game. So let's jump into today's games. First play-in game is the 7-seed Miami Heat versus the 8-seed Atlanta Hawks. What's your thoughts?
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
While I'm editing this video, we just seen that the Hawks have beaten the Miami Heat, and please don't shade me for all of the shame I just gave Trae Young because he just had a good game. So, woo!
Coming into this, I think the Hawks are maybe like 3-13 against the Heat or something like that in the previous games. Dating back to last year too, they got smoked. Trae Young looked fucking awful. So fucking bad. Therefore, I'm going with the Heat all the way. I think it's probably going to be like a low-scoring game for sure. But, I say Trae Young will probably have like a decent game, but the Heat are just going to take over. Playoff Jimmy all the way.
Okay, I like it. I'm kind of going in that same spot. I think the Heat win it. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game as well. I think that they're going to clamp Trae Young. I think Trae Young's going to have an ass game. I don't remember what his exact averages were, but I know he has sucked versus the Heat this season.
Yeah.
I see him scoring like 14 points.
14?
14 points.
That's crazy.
Hot take.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I see Trae Young getting just, double guard or doubled all night, like hand touching basically the whole night. I don't know. I see him just having a bad shooting night in Miami too.
Okay.
And yeah, I think Heat take that one to end up playing the Celtics in the first round. But yeah, so that's that first game. Then we'll go over to the West 7 versus 8 seed with the 7 seed Los Angeles Lakers.
You already know. You have to represent, no bias at all.
No bias. And then versus the number 8 seed Minnesota Timberwolves.
For this game, the Timberwolves lost Rudy Gobert. That 1-game suspension.
Unfortunately.
Punching his teammate. Tried to. Ended up walking away right after. But at the same time, the Lakers, AD's been on a roll. LeBron's back now. We should have got that 6 seed, but we're not going to talk about that. That Clippers game, We're just going to move on from it. But I got the Lakers winning easily. No rim protection at all. AD's probably going to get like a nice 35 and 12. That's my opinion.
I like it. We're kind of on the same boat so far. Easy Lake Show dub. I see a big game by D'Angelo Russell, because he's got a little point to prove to them. Big game by AD. I think that he even might I feel like we're gonna win by 15. I think it's gonna be a nice one, nice dub. Good game all around. Braun, nice little probably 23, 6 and 8, with a little Anthony Davis 30 and 15 and. D'Lo's going to hit 4 threes, is what I think.
I say a strong LeBron triple-double watch.
I like that as well.
Watch.
But I don't know. I just don't think – I think Cat was questionable. I mean, he's going to play. But I just don't see Minnesota winning this game. I really don't. So
it's tough.
There you have it. Now moving back over to the east side with Wednesday's games with the 9 seed – Toronto Raptors versus the 10 seed Chicago Bulls.
So this is the game that's so tough because both of these teams are pretty much even for the most part. Zach LaVine's been on a roll for the past 2 months or so, especially since the All-Star break. But also with the Raptors, their front court size is something to be scared of if you are a Bulls fan. You have Vucevic. He can get you a few boards here and there, but he's not the best defender. Out of this Bulls-Raptors game, I'm going to have to go with the hometown. Chicago Bulls, I feel like Zach LaVine will get you a nice little 30-piece, couple threes mixed in there. But I feel like the Raptors' offense is just not that good at all. Their half-court offense, I think it's not as up to par as the Bulls, and therefore, the Bulls are going to move on.
I like that. I'm going to swing in a little bit of a different direction on this one. I kind of like the Raptors team. I think that they did a little worse than expected this year. But I think Vucevic can't really guard Siakam, and I think that's how it's going to be. I think Siakam's going to go crazy tomorrow, or today, if you're watching this. So I got the Raptors winning. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it'll be like a 3 to 5 point game. Yeah. I think Siakam will have a good night. Freddie will probably have a normal Freddie game, hits a couple threes, 20 points.
We'll see. He's been a little inconsistent, but
But
we'll
playoff Freddie. Can we say playoff Freddie? I don't know if that's a thing. I don't think we can say playoff Freddie.
I don't know.
But we're about to tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Or today.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I got Toronto moving up to play we both said, they play the Hawks, yeah.
Yeah.
So they play the Hawks. But yeah. So then moving over to the West, we got 9 seed New Orleans Pelicans versus the 10 seed Oklahoma City Thunder.
So with this game, the Pelicans, they started off so great when they had Zion and had B.I. coming back. I believe they were like the 2 seed or like 1 seed at one point. So, now they've just been on a whole roller coaster type of season. Now they're the 9 seed now. Going against OKC Thunder, who have Shea. He's been fucking crazy this year, averaging like 32 points a game, carrying this team to the 10 seed. And with that being said, Shea's going to go crazy again. I feel like he's going to have a nice little 40-piece. I don't think anybody on the Pelicans is going to be able to guard him. Jose Alvarado is going to be out, like you said. So it's like OKC going to be that 8 seed for sure.
Yeah, I got the same answer on that one. I like the Thunder. I like Shea. I like Josh Giddey. I think Josh Giddey's going to have a clean stat line, nice little trip dub, if not really close. And then I just see Shea going crazy tomorrow. I don't see anybody guarding him. Like, who are they going to put on him? Dyson Daniels, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram. Like, none of those guys are terrific defenders, even average defenders. Like, B.I. is a below-average defender. Same with CJ. I don't really know too much about Dyson Daniels defensively.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it'll be a nice Thunder win. I think it'll be a close game. Obviously, Zion's out, so they aren't going to have that star power. But I think B.I. is still going to have a good game. I think CJ will have a decent game. But I got Thunder winning by like 6.
And that's the scary part. They do have B.I. That man can go crazy anytime, anywhere. But, OKC does have a nice young rookie in Jalen Williams who's been going bonkers over the past couple months. He's probably not going to win the Rookie of the Year race for sure. That's all Paolo, but he still had an amazing season for a rookie.
Yeah. And they just Thunder have some good wing defenders too. Like Kenrich Williams can defend the hell out of anybody. Same with Lou Dort. He's a little bit undersized, but he can guard he could guard a guy that's 6'9", 6'10", just because of how good of a defender he is.
Yep.
And so I think that they could potentially slow down B.I. I just don't think there's literally anybody on the Pelicans roster that will be able to slow down Shea. So that's why I have them winning. Yeah.
Nice fades. Got the 8 and 9 seed playing now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then we got 8, 9 seed. For the East side, we have Hawks versus Bulls, so that would be you.
Okay.
And then I went Hawks versus Raptors.
Hawks versus Bulls. Man. It's been so much speculation going on with Trae Young, how he might be getting traded this offseason. Him and his coach before, Nick McMillan, didn't really get along. They brought in Kenny Atkinson, I think.
Yeah.
And, came in, didn't really work out, as much as what I thought it was going to be. Their defense is pretty much just as terrible as it was before. And, man, the Bulls got an old Laker on their team. Alex Caruso, probably going to make first team all defense. I feel like he's gonna clamp up Trae Young for sure. He's gonna clamp up Trae Young. Trae Young's probably gonna have the worst game of his life against them. And the Bulls probably gonna win by a solid 10.
I like that. I like that. And I don't think it is Kenny Atkinson. It's Quinn Snyder.
Quinn Snyder. Yeah.
That's who it is. It just popped into my head because I saw Kenny Atkinson's trying to get the Rockets job since they got rid of Silas.
Yep.
But okay, I like that. So you got Bulls going in to play the Bucks first round. I'm gonna go with my 9-10 seed. I'm having the Raptors beat the Hawks in this 8-9 seed game. I think Trae Young Trae Young. I'm not a Trae Young guy. I think the Hawks should get rid of him. I think he's a ball hog who throws up a lot of shots and he's not that consistent. Yeah, he scores a lot of points, but he also gets to the line how many times a game? Like he shoots at least probably 8 or 10 free throws a game, I would imagine. So I got Raptors winning. I think Gary Trent could potentially slow him down a little bit. You throw Scotty Barnes on him. I know he's a big-ass guy, but that's a big-ass guy who's athletic and quick.
Yeah, he can definitely keep up. For sure.
And I think maybe you have a little problem with guarding DeJounte Murray. I think that could potentially be something. But then again, like I just think the Raptors have too much size. I think that they've been kind of underrated this season just because they haven't been as consistent as everybody thinks that they should be, and how I think that they should be. I'm seeing the Raptors beat the Hawks and moving on to play the Bucks in the first round.
That's going to be a tough series.
Very tough series. So now moving over to the West side, we got the 8 seed Minnesota Timberwolves versus the 10 seed Oklahoma City Thunder.
Man. You know, Shea, like I said before, has had an amazing season. Josh Giddey also as well. But I feel like Ant Edwards, after losing that game to the Lakers, they probably get Gobert back as well. I feel like the Minnesota Timberwolves will definitely win that game. They will have just too much size in the front court. I can see Cat having a good game as well, you know, especially if he plays in the post. But Minnesota Timberwolves definitely move on to go play the Nuggets in the first round.
I like that as well. Yeah, I just don't. I mean, yes, with Shea being so good, and same with Josh Giddey, like those are dogs on the Thunder. But then again, like around them to be able to stop the Timberwolves' size that they have in Rudy Gobert and Cat, I just don't think they can. So I think the Timberwolves are going to win this pretty good. I think Ant's going to go crazy, like you're saying, just because he's going to be pissed off that he just lost to the future NBA champions. Just kidding. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. You know, probably. Playoff LeBron, you know.
Yeah. But, I got Minnesota winning this game and Ant having a crazy game to then play the Nuggets in the first round.
Oh, man. It's time to get to that first round, baby.
All right. And we are officially into the first round with the east side of the bracket. Almost said east side of Nebraska. East side of the bracket. We got the Milwaukee Bucks versus, for me, the Raptors, and for Darryl versus the Bulls.
So this is the exact moment when the Bulls season is going to come to an end. We saw this last year. They got fucking smoked. Giannis went crazy against them. And it's probably going to happen again today. The Bucks are honestly a better team than they were last year, especially defensively. Brook Lopez is in consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. Drew Holiday has been an all-world defender, same with Giannis. And they're just going to cause so many problems with the Bulls. Their offense is going to be looking so crazy against that defense. And honestly, this is when the whole run just comes to an end for the Bulls. You know, it's the Bucks. They're one of the favorites to win the title. Giannis is a top 3 MVP candidate. Yeah, Bucks in 4.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I got the same fucking thing happening on my side. I don't think the Raptors could even come close to stopping the Bucks. I think Giannis is going to go brazy on them. Probably first game drop a nice little 40, 12, and 6 with an easy 10 to 15 point win. I think Drew Holiday is going to lock down Zach LaVine. I think Chris Middleton's going to have a good series. I know he's been kind of lackluster this season. I think he's averaging 16, 15 points a game this year. But I think he's going to have a good series just because it's time for him to have a good series.
Yeah.
I got the Bucks in 4 easy.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I could see the Raptors stealing a game.
Maybe,
I could see it.
But I feel like it would be in Toronto.
Yeah. Worst case. Drake shows up to the game, throws the Bucks off. I could see it.
Maybe. I could see it too. But I still got confidence in the Bucks 4-0. 4-0 sweep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving to the west side of the bracket. We got the Denver Nuggets, number 1 seed, facing the number 8 seed Minnesota Timberwolves.
Denver Nuggets, they've had an amazing season. Jokic is probably the MVP this year. Who knows? Him and Embiid both had amazing seasons. You know, he has Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back this time around going into the playoffs. The Nuggets are going to win this series. However, the Timberwolves have a shot of stealing a couple games from the Nuggets. You know, they have the size up front in their front court to kind of throw Jokic off, you know, with Cat and Gobert. But ultimately, it's going to come down to what Anthony Edwards can do going into the playoff time. You know, I know he's had an amazing playoffs last year, but if he can step that up going into this season. But yeah, the Nuggets, they're the number 1 seed for the reason. You know, they've been the number 1 seed for most of the year this year. So they're probably going to win this game, probably a nice 5, a gentleman's sweep. I'll give the Timberwolves one game.
Yeah, that was kind of the direction I was going to go into. I mean, the Nuggets are obviously they're the number 1 seed, and they have one of the better players in the NBA, back-to-back MVP, who's potentially could win his 3rd one, which I don't think he should win his 3rd one, but I think Embiid should get it. That's for a different video, but I just don't see any way the Timberwolves win this series. I mean, I just don't see that's realistic. I think Jokic is going to go crazy. You can't forget about Aaron Gordon, too. Aaron Gordon's been having a hell of a year.
Borderline all-star.
I'm going to go gentleman's sweep, too. I think the one game that they win could be like a game 3 or like a game 4, one of the games that they have at home maybe, or like they win a tight-ass game in Denver maybe. And I think Cat's going to have a good series, too. I think Gobert will play decent defense on Jokic, but then again, like, it's also Jokic, so,
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck can you really do?
Gobert's defense on the perimeter is awful.
Yeah, it's
so
horrible.
Jokic is going to kill him for most of the game, but if he ever gets a shot at the rim, then that's probably his best shot.
Yeah, but I got Nuggets in 5. Okay. So then going in back over to the east side of the bracket, we got the number 2 seed Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat.
Whew. Eastern Conference Finals rematch in the first round. This is going to be a treat. Going back to last year, I had the Heat winning, you know, in 7 games. You know, ultimately Jimmy Butler missed that 3-pointer to take the lead with like a minute left. But this year, the Celtics have been so good. You know, they were the number 1 seed at one point, but, you know, the Bucks took that over. You know, they've been at 2 for most of the year. And they've just been killing. Jason Tatum, baller. Straight baller. Him and Jaylen Brown have just been going crazy. You know, and don't forget about playoff Jimmy. Just, you cannot forget about playoff Jimmy at all. But the Celtics are just that good. That good. And I might have to take them in 6 games. I'm thinking about it, but I could see it being a 7-game series at the same time. That's because you just can't bet against playoff Jimmy. Like, he almost took it over, like, by himself last year, you know? But I feel like ultimately it's going to come up to those secondary players. What can Bam Adebayo do? You know, will Jaylen Brown ultimately step up and take that role, you know, saying that I'm that guy and average like 30 in that series? So I feel like the Celtics will probably win this series in like 6 games. It's going to be tough, though. I don't see it being like any blowouts at all. It's going to be a hard-fought, tough, low-scoring game for the most part. So definitely bet the under for sure.
I like that. Yeah, rematch from last year's playoffs. I really like how both the teams are like laid out this year. I think both teams are pretty deep, and the Heat should have had a better record this year, with how deep their roster is. But I mean, it's just like you're saying, it's going to come down to Bam. We're going to see, can Robert Williams guard Bam? Is Jason Tatum going to be that guy with Jimmy Butler on him all series? I mean, yeah, he's that guy right now, but is he going to be able to do that for the whole series? Jaylen Brown, I know with his injury, like what's he going to look like when he comes back? I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of role players that are going to have to go crazy, like Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White for the Celtics. And then on the Heat side, I mean, is Tyler Hero going to have a big series? I mean, you can never forget about him.
He's got to step up, especially compared to last year. I don't think last year he had an amazing series against the Celtics. But if you could bring back that 2020 bubble version of Tyler Hero, the Heat can go a long way. But, as it's shown this season, they've been such a roller coaster of a team.
Yeah, so I could see this series. I'm going Celtics win in 7. That's what I think, in 7. I think it's going to be a really back and forth series. Before kind of seeing like the Jaylen Brown stuff, I was thinking that they might win the series in like gentleman's sweep is what I was going to do. But I think that I don't know. I mean, with the Heat coming off that nice little win where they just clamped Trae Young in the playoffs and going into this series to go against the Celtics, I think that they're going to be riding in on a hot hand and they'll steal a couple games that a lot of people don't think that they should. And just because their roster is so deep, like one night you never know, like Victor Oladipo could go crazy and nobody
can't forget about him.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, Game 7. That's what I think. Moving over to the west side of the bracket.
Oh, man.
This is going to be the one where you guys are going to might be pissed or love us.
Here we go.
We got the number 2 seed Memphis Grizzlies versus the number 7 seed Los Angeles Lakers. Go for it.
The Grizzlies, Ja Morant, he's been having a hell of a season. He's been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But, the Grizzlies are also missing Steven Adams. He's probably going to miss the playoffs. They're also missing Brandon Clark. He's going to be gone for the whole year, too. So, therefore, they don't really have a backup center. I think it's, I forgot the name of the guy that's the backup.
Aldama. Santi Aldama.
Yeah, Aldama. But, they just have Jaren Jackson Jr. pretty much in the front court, and maybe Xavier Tillman. I feel I could see AD just going wild this series. The Lakers have been on a stretch so far ever since the trade deadline. They've had the best record in the NBA, I believe, since then. I feel like this streak is probably going to continue, too. Playoff LeBron, can't bet against him. Cannot bet against him. And I might go Lakers in 6. I'm thinking Lakers in 6. But I can see the Grizzlies stealing a couple games just because they're that good of a team. Their depth in general, especially in the backcourt, they got Ja, they got Desmond Bane, Dillon Brooks. But they also have Tyus Jones coming off the bench and Luke Kennard. So you can't forget about that. There's going to be some tough games for sure. But I feel like the Lakers are going to pull it out in the end.
I like that. We'll start off with the Grizzlies. Good team. Obviously, Ja Morant. All the shit that he's been dealing with this season. Injuries plaguing the team a little bit. A lot of Dillon Brooks suspensions.
Yeah, that guy's. Oh my god.
Then we'll turn our side over to the Lakers. Big trades. The best low seed in the entire playoffs.
The most dangerous low seed.
That too.
Dangerous.
I think they're have super good depth. And I don't know. I just like the series. I think the Lakers have the advantage in size, and just overall roster right now. I think LeBron's gonna go crazy, like you're saying. Can't bet against playoff LeBron. We've seen this for 20 years now. You can't bet on playoff LeBron, unless maybe it's in the finals, but we'll see. And I'm gonna go Lakers in 6 as well. I could even go. I could maybe see it go in Game 7, or I could also see a total collapse from Memphis, and Lakers do a gentleman. And in 5.
Woo.
Yeah, we're having hot takes over here, but I'm just that confident. I mean, I think D'Lo's gonna have a good series. I think Bron's gonna have a good series. I think AD's gonna have a good series. I think Vanderbilt's gonna clamp anybody who he wants to guard. It could either be Jaren Jackson or Asante or even a Dillon Brooks. It'll probably be Dillon Brooks, honestly.
Yep.
Because we'll probably have Bron guard Santi, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'll probably have
because he's a little slower.
Him on because LeBron's probably gonna guard definitely the weakest person on offense.
Yeah.
To start off the game.
And so I think it's gonna be close games every time, but just when I think about this series, it just brings me back into the 2020 bubble. All those good moments of the AD game winner, the Kuz game winner. Our Kuz this year is Malik Beasley, and I could see that. I could see that. Him going absolutely nuts in this series because, I mean, how many threes is he averaging a game now? Like 9 he shoots a game probably.
Shoots a lot.
And I think he's shooting 30-something, 36+% from the three right now. And all he has to do is get hot. And the series is so much different. I'm not saying like Malik Beasley's this absolute game-changing player, but for us this year he has been. And so, like, I don't know, just with LeBron on offense, with him swinging the ball with 3 stars on the offense and Malik Beasley coming in there, I think he could play a huge part into the overall series. So that's my take on that.
And one more thing about this series, people always say the Lakers have like streaky shooters. We just need 1 or 2 good games out of most of our shooters. Malik Beasley have a couple games shooting amazing. D'Lo, Austin Reeves cannot forget about AR-15.
No,
cannot forget about him. So, if these role players have a good series, good like couple of games, we can definitely win the series easily. Especially with the Grizzlies missing so many of their like most important players such as Adams, and Clark. I feel like it will definitely cause a problem once it gets to playing the Lakers.
Yeah, but obviously, like, no bias and stuff.
Yeah, no bias at all, bias.
Don't even think about that.
This is all coming from straight hard facts.
Yep. All right, so let's move over to the East side. We got the 3 seed Philadelphia 76ers versus the 6 seed Brooklyn Nets.
If I would have looked at this series like a good 3 months ago, I would have definitely took the Nets. I'm not going to lie. But after those couple of trades with KD and Kyrie, this team has just looked so much different since then. Mikal Bridges has been going crazy since he's gotten traded. I swear he had like a 45-point game recently. And he's just been averaging like 27 since he gotten traded. So the Nets, they definitely have the respect for me as a playoff team. They have a lot of good wing defenders on their team with Mikal, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith. And they also have good guard play too with Spencer Dinwiddie. Hopefully they get to play Cam Thomas a little bit more because he's such a stud. He's such a young player and they just don't give him any playing time at all. So if they can definitely give him some playing time going into this series, that can definitely help. But looking on the other side, they have the MVP. Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid. He's that guy. He's been going crazy since the whole season started. He's been going crazy. He's been my MVP, for this season. I don't care what anybody else says. It's a done deal. But the Philadelphia 76ers are definitely going to win the series in a gentleman's sweep in 5. I feel like there will be one stinker in there with more than likely James Harden having a stinker. I could see it. I don't think he's going to have like the craziest of series, as we've seen with James Harden in the past. But I feel like he'll be good enough, to be a good assist man for their team. He's been averaging like 10, 11 assists a game. So, I have the 76ers winning. I said they probably winning in 5. And, the Nets might win like game 3, game 4, so they won't get swept.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, I agree with you. Like the last couple months ago, like I would have went Nets here, like 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, going into this now, I kind of like the moves that they made. I like the acquisition of Mikal Bridges. Since we worked for the Suns last year, I've been saying he's the most underrated player in the NBA.
Yeah, I definitely see it now.
Sure. Dude is an animal. One of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA, off-ball defenders. And obviously you can see now he's an all-around player. He could score with the best of them. So, as much as I love Mikal Bridges, that doesn't change anything in the series of what I think is going to happen. I think the Sixers are going to dominate them every game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Embiid, who is also my MVP, like we were saying earlier, 100% he should win MVP this year. And if he doesn't, that's complete bullshit.
Facts.
I see him going crazy to at least prove another point on why he should be MVP.
Mm-hmm.
I see James Harden having a good series, Maxey having a good series, Tobias Harris doing Tobias Harris stuff. I don't know. I like the Sixers this year. I'm going Sixers clean sweep over the Nets.
Okay.
And there might be a close game in there. Like Game 4 will probably be close, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other ones, like, it might be back and forth throughout it, but I think they're at least, 6-point wins each game.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that, the Nets do have, really good defenders. They have a really good defense. Jacques Vaughn has had their team as one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. And, none of them are going to be able to stop Joel Embiid, especially Nick Claxton. But, they might cause problems to James Harden or Tyrese Maxey or Tobias Harris. And it might come down to like those role players, like you said, that will be able to win those games. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good one. I think that'll just be an entertaining series in general. Just even though if the Nets aren't super loaded, their team is still fun to watch because they have quality role players and guys that are still entertaining to watch. So I think that series will be good in general. But then moving over to the west side of the bracket, we got the number 3 Sacramento Kings lighting the beam versus the number 6 seed Golden State Warriors.
Oh man, defending champs, 6 seed, going against the Sacramento Kings, a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 17 years. 17 years.
It's a long ass
time. I was 5 years old the last time they made the playoffs. I don't even remember that. I'm honestly glad that they made the playoffs finally after such a long time. After they traded for Domantas Sabonis this past offseason, their team has looked a lot better. A lot better. They brought in Mike Brown as their head coach. And they also, I believe, they drafted Keegan Murray too. He's had an amazing season, the most threes out of any rookie in NBA history.
Kevin Huerter too.
Yep, Kevin Huerter. He has an amazing season too. And as a 3 seed going against the Golden State Warriors as the 6 seed, that had to be the worst present ever. Ever. Going against Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, first round. There you go. Yeah. And, I already know some of the bettors, or at least on some bet sites, they have the Warriors favorites win this series. And, somebody like me, I respect the Warriors. They beat my boy LeBron 3 or 4 times in the finals. I still regret it to this day. But I feel like this is when the time comes to an end. I feel like this is when the dynasty comes to an end. This is my hot take of the day. I have the Kings winning in 7. In Sacramento, lighting the beam after beating the Golden State Warriors in the first round.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, I like the Kings a lot this year. They're super fun to watch. I love the light the beam thing. I was rooting for them all year to make the playoffs, but here's the catch. Obviously, they're facing the Golden State Warriors, defending champs. Steph Curry, one of the best point guards to ever walk the planet. Best shooter of all time. And then Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Draymond Green.
Pool party.
I just have a really hard time going against the Warriors. Just because of, like you were saying, they've broke my heart so many times with LeBron. Yeah. And I didn't want them to win last year. They broke my heart when they beat the Suns because I wanted a championship ring as an employee. But I'm going to have to go Golden State in this one. I'm having Golden State win in probably 6.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a good back and forth series, but I think that the Warriors just steal one in Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And I think it's probably starts off as a 2-2 series, and then the Warriors win back-to-back and close the series out.
Hey, the Warriors have been struggling on the road this entire season. Mm-hmm. They've been picking it up as of late. They won the past few games. But I don't know, man. The Kings, they're just so, underrated, I feel like. This entire season, people don't really look at them as, a legitimate team. And they're the 3 seed. They could have had the 2. But, going against the Warriors, going against Steph, Klay, and Dre, and you got Poole too coming off the bench. It's gonna be tough, and they also got Andrew Wiggins back.
That too, yeah.
Too, so it's gonna be a tough series, very tough series. But let's light that beam, man. Let's get this over with. Let's end that dynasty.
It's hard for me, man, because I really like the Kings and I like the roster they've built. I like the addition of Malik Monk. That broke my heart when he left the Lakers this offseason, but he's been killing it for them. I don't know, man. I think this would be my hot take just because the Warriors have so much more playoff success than them and so much more experience that even though they had a bad road record this year, it's still the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs. And so I feel like it's they're going to figure it out. So, yeah, I got Warriors in 6. That pains me to do. I'm just letting you guys know that. But it had to be my hot take just because I don't know. I had to be. I was going to say, I'm just thinking about in my betting mind if I was being realistic. I don't know. Just because I just think they will. But moving off to the east side of the bracket, here's one that I'm really excited for. I think this is going to be a really entertaining series. We got the number 4 seed Cleveland Cavaliers versus the number 5 seed New York Knicks.
I feel like this might be the best first round series of the entire playoffs. Both of these teams are both gritty. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks have one of the best offenses and defenses in the league. The Cavaliers also have, arguably, in my opinion, the Defensive Player of the Year in Evan Mobley. He's been so amazing for them, especially after they brought in Donovan Mitchell. There was a lot of concerns about what their defense was going to look like, but he's definitely stepped up for sure. Especially at their wing position too. I know it was another question with who was going to play that 3 role. Isaac Okoro has been showing up recently. He's been shooting the ball a lot more better than last year. But the Knicks they're up to something up there. I'm not gonna lie. For the first time, I feel like the Knicks are actually doing something good. Julius Randle All-Star season. They brought in Jalen Brunson. He should have been an All-Star too. But, that definitely hurt the Mavericks when they lost him because he's definitely stepped up and gotten better as well. And they have a lot of depth, too. They have Emmanuel Quickley, arguably the 6th man of the year. They have Quentin Grimes. They have Obi Toppin. But they have a nice front court and a decent back court that can cause a lot of problems for the Cavaliers. But for this series, Donovan Mitchell, he's another guy. When it comes to playoff time, he give you 50 balls every other night. Might have to go Cavs in 7. I feel like it's going to be a close series. I could see it just being pretty much even the entire time. But once it gets to Cleveland in Game 7, I feel like Donovan Mitchell will take over that game, and then the Cavs would move on to the second round.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, this is going to be, I think it'll be the best series, if not the second best series, with the one we're about to talk about. I think could potentially be the best series. But I think this is going to be a really good one. I really like Julius Randle, former Laker. RJ Barrett, dog. Jalen Brunson, dog.
Facts.
And I don't know. I really like this Knicks team, which I think that the New York fans are going to be rowdy as hell. Just throw back to when they faced the Hawks in the playoffs, same type of vibe.
De Blasio, we had Cuomo. It was rough shit, but we have the Knicks.
Madison Square Garden's going to be rocking. But then again, you also got to look at this Cavs team, and they're loaded as well. Their entire starting lineup is really tough with Garland and Mitchell and Mobley and Allen. And are they starting LeVert at the 3?
I think they have Okoro starting and LeVert coming off the bench.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, both guys really solid 3s. And I like their depth. Donovan Mitchell could go crazy, as you've seen in past playoff series versus the Nuggets. But I like the Knicks a lot in this. I really do.
Series, man.
I think the front court could be interesting. I think that Evan Mobley is going to play really well on Julius Randle, and I think it'll be really good both sides with Mitchell Robinson and Jarrett Allen. But I got the Knicks in 7. In Cleveland.
In Cleveland, man.
I think it'll be a tight game, maybe a little OT, maybe just some bad officiating going the Knicks' way. That's just hypotheticals, but I think I like the Knicks. I think the Knicks need a playoff win, and I think it'd be good for the NBA. Like you're saying, potentially scripted. I think it'd be good for the NBA. I think it'd be good for the Knicks. I think it'd be good for just the league in general and everybody in the league. So, yeah.
I mean, I feel like Julius Randle has to have a great series. When they faced the Hawks a couple years ago, he looked awful. He looked terrible. I'm surprised they didn't trade him after that series. But he's bounced back this season. So he should definitely bounce back this series. He's going to have Evan Mobley guarding him. That's going to be a tough matchup. But he has to show that he's an all-star now. He's an all-NBA player, as he was before, and try to lead this Knicks team to the next round, because it's been a long time since the Knicks have ever went past the first round, let alone the second round. So they need this dub.
Yeah, this would be I couldn't even imagine. I just can't wait to see the videos if the Knicks win this series. You remember all the videos that came out on TikTok and shit and Instagram and shit? Oh my god. And especially if they win the series, that shit is going to be crazy.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. Bruh. That shit would be so good. I can't wait. But let's move over to the west side of the bracket. with the 4 seed Phoenix Suns versus the 5 seed Los Angeles Clippers.
You know, you were right before. This actually probably will be the best series of the playoffs, easily. Got the Phoenix Suns, brought in KD, and they had never looked back ever since. You know, been undefeated since they got KD, and you know them and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. They just have a all around great offense that can definitely carry themselves to the NBA championship. But looking over the other side, the Clippers do have Kawhi Leonard. He's been going crazy since he's gotten back into full, shape since his injuries last season. But they also lost Paul George. He's probably not going to be back this first round. Yeah, it's going to be kind of tough going in there, trying to beat KD and D-Book. The Clippers also have Russell Westbrook. Yeah, I remember you, buddy.
Yeah, we remember you, bro.
Yeah.
Don't you think you forgot about?
But I'll respect the Russ because he's the MVP. I'll give him that. He's been playing decent for them. Being the starting point guard. But man, this series is gonna be so tough. I've seen a lot of people say that they're gonna have the Suns winning in like 5 games, but I could see this going 7 easily. I feel like you can't really bet against Kawhi, especially a healthy Kawhi. A healthy Kawhi is something that you can't really bet against because he's always an all-time player when it comes to playoff time. Man, might have to go Suns in 7. I regret to say it. I feel regret that, but Suns in 7.
Okay. This is, like I was saying, this is going to be the best series of the first round. I like both teams. I hate the Clippers, for one. I don't care if any of you guys are Clippers fans. Fuck the Clippers, for one. But then again, I really like this Suns roster. I really like the addition to KD. I think their bench got better as well, even though after they traded some pieces. I like the Terrence Ross pickup. I like the Darius Baisley pickup. I don't know, bro. I think with the Clippers missing Paul George, I think that's a huge loss. Like, obviously, because now your main defender, Kawhi, and he's your main scorer, he's going to be guarding KD, I would imagine.
Yeah.
What do you have, Terrence Mann guard D-Book? Like, yeah, that's a good defender.
But I feel like, they'll probably have Terrence Mann guarding D-Book, and they might have maybe Robert Covington or somebody guarding KD to at least start off the game. Because I know with Kawhi, they probably want to try to not make him so tired to begin the game, guarding KD and D-Book. So going into the fourth quarter, he can't guard them. Plus, since he has to carry the offensive load for their team, he's going to be gassed by like the second game if he has to run around the court chasing them. So
That's true. I don't know, man. I really like both rosters. I liked how the Clippers picked up Bones Highland, too. I liked the Mason Plumlee pickup. I think he's a solid backup center. I think they got good depth. Norman Powell's a stud. They got him for nothing. I remember that. Same with Robert Covington. Those were 2 big pieces that they added. But this is my hot take here.
Uh-oh.
I'm going Suns in 4.
Oh.
Suns in 4.
Suns in 4. Oh, man.
I think it's going to be a clean sweep. I think the Suns are going to go crazy. Book and KD are going to average 30 apiece for the series, at least. I think Chris Paul is going to have a good series, too. I think Ayton's hella soft, but I think he's going to have a good series, too. I think he's going to play good defense on Zubac and Plumlee when they get into the game. And I don't know, bro. I think the Suns have something to prove. I think this might be, obviously they just traded for KD, but like this is one of their chances that they're going to have to get to the finals. And like these next couple of years are going to look a little questionable because of Chris Paul's age and KD's age. And I think that it's now or nothing for them, basically, or now or hopeful for the next couple of years. And I think that they're going to come in with a head of steam, and I think they're going to sweep them clean. I think it's going to be close games, but I think they're going to sweep them.
I feel like it's a do or die moment for both of these teams, honestly. I know the Clippers don't have Paul George with them, but they've had this thing going for like 4 or 5 years now. And they only have a Western Conference Finals appearance. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I feel like ultimately it's probably going to come down to those secondary players. So like Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Norman Powell too. But I feel like, ultimately, Chris Paul has the easiest job in the world.
Oh.
He just has to set up KD in a book all the time and then get like 15 assists a game, Russ, on the other hand, can't shoot the lick out of the ball if he wanted to. So it's like, I feel like the Suns have an easy defensive assignment going against the Clippers. It's pretty much just Kawhi, Norman Powell, a couple of guys coming off the bench with Bones Highland. But, with Russ, it's like if you cause him to make those turnovers, it makes the game a lot easier because that's just easy buckets on the other end. So
Facts. And yeah, I mean, I still think it's going to be a really good series. But I really think that the Suns are just going to win all of them. I think the Russ thing is going to turn out to be a problem like it has been the last couple stops that he's had, especially with the Lakers. And I was looking, he's averaging basically almost the same exact stats with the Clippers as he did with the Lakers, almost identical. And I don't know, bro. Russ grew on me a little bit. I think he's going to be the reason that they lose this series, though. I think it's going to be him. I think he's going to have a bad series. I think the loss of Paul George is going to be more than they expected. I think Bones Highland's going to have, a sneaky, really good series just off of the bench, just coming in, just because dude's a scoring machine. Let's be honest. He comes in the game to get buckets. And so I think he'll be a big player for them. But, yeah, Suns in 4.
I could see Bones Highland starting after game 2 or 3. Russ has a couple bad games. I could see it, but yeah, this Clippers team, they're already kind of depleted with losing Paul George. The Suns have been on a roll. They might have this streak continue, to 12-0 by the time this first round is over. So,
facts. Well, I think that concludes the first round of the NBA playoffs. Kind of as we're getting into the games more, we'll get some more stuff out with just kind of more prediction stuff. But thank you guys for tuning in to the Essential Sports Podcast. My name is Tyler.
My name is Darryl.
And thanks again. Before you guys tap out, make sure that you follow our social medias, our TikTok and Instagram right here, our Twitter, and our YouTube, which you're watching right now. But yeah, thanks again, and we're out.
Peace.